while we do this, people on this side, can you see the screen? Good, perfect. People on this side, specifically, can you see the screen now? No? Ay. Thank you. Now, yes? Okay. Perfect.
So, officially, this session is is external campaign launch of 2030. Bam, pararam, bam, pararam, bam, pararam. Okay, so this is the first midterm ambition that ISEC has ever translated to be external campaign again, okay? So we have a few questions that me and Gabby were having. We were talking if ISEC 2030 is an ambition for, wait, are you here? Hello?
People that are in the back,
People in the back.
if you're coming late, be faster and sit down, please.
Okay,
Fast, fast, fast.
how can we explain something as big as our midterm ambition to the external world? How do we translate something so internal as ISEC 2030 to engage more people? How do we make the world be part of our real change maker movement? That are the questions that we have right now to have a external campaign for ISEC 2030. But for this, I'm gonna introduce now our amazing PR manager, Gabby, to explain what is the campaign.
Yay! Okay, I am realizing that I hate doing lunches. Okay, I'm quite nervous because when we were talking with JP on how to do this, is because if you have seen the PR Just Real sub-campaign, ISEC 2030 was part of that sub-campaign, but it was never launched. So when we started doing this with JP, we were asking like, okay, ISEC 2030 is something so internal, no? It's something so of like, okay, it's our move, and it's the way that we're doing. But after that, I was asking him like, how is it possible that we're a movement of real change makers, but all of youth is not included, or all of partners are not included? Everyone should be included in this. So how do you translate that? But also we're starting to think, how do we make ISEC 2030 be everywhere, all the time, that you see, that you breathe, that you eat ISEC 2030? So with that, so with that, I wanted to present to you a, the ISEC 2030 campaign.
Woo, woo, woo!
I want to make something very clear. Well, this is called ISEC 2030 External Campaign. This is a campaign for internal and external, okay? It's for you to have resources on how to communicate ISEC 2030. It's for you to understand what is actually happening in ISEC 2030 and that you have a campaign to move it. So ISEC 2030 campaign, lovely people here.
Are you ready to see the campaign? Are you ready? The campaign is starting now. Go, Gabby.
Okay, so ISEC 2030 reflects on the evolving role of exchanges in shaping the next generation of youth leaders. And if you realize what I said, ISEC 2030 is part of the Just Real campaign, which lovely IES released last year. So this is going to be our tagline for every single part that we're doing. Real change maker is ISEC 2030 campaign, okay? ISEC 2030 is bold, it's inclusive, and it's future-driven. That's the point of this campaign. How can we include everyone to be future-driven? How can we include everyone to be bold in the honor of ISEC legacy? A movement of real change makers. I don't know if you realize this, but that's pretty intentional. Real movement of change makers. Just real change makers. So it's all connected with also our marketing campaign. The concept is basically that we need to showcase how ISEC is involving everyone, pretty much what I told you. We want to show that our vision is not just a plan, but it's an active transformation of the organization. how the future needs more young change makers. We have 3 pillars, and the pillars are based on the 3 statements that we have. So shape, dare, and become. How can you use this? Again, this is not just a campaign for external. This is a campaign for youth, this is a campaign for partners, and this is a campaign for members. So every single time that you communicate ISEC 2030, and I want you to communicate ISEC 2030, it should be everywhere, all the time. Your members should be thinking about ISEC 2030, and they should know every single statement. Your partners should know what you're working for. The youth should know what we're working for specifically. Right? So at the end, the message, or the main message, is real change makers. Bold, real, and future driven. This is something that you saw last year if you had the ISEC 20, if you were in the ISEC 2030 launch. But basically, you have a tone of voice which is youthful, purposeful, inclusive, inspirational. But you have every single message alignment with all the 3 pillars of ISEC 2030. So if you're talking about leadership, if you're talking about relevance, or if you're talking about growth, this is what you should do. This is how you manage the communication of ISEC 2030. What the emotional attributes are, so empowered, inclusive, ambitious, and especially human-centered. What the strategic attributes of ISEC 2030 is, future-oriented, scalable, flexible, aligned. And these are our ISEC 2030 sub-messages. And if you take a look at this, our sub-message is related always with exchange, because exchange is what makes ISEC, ISEC. So leadership in exchange, growth in exchange, and relevance in exchange. But also you can see that every single one of our pillars is connected with some alignment. So for example, leadership in exchange will be connected to ISEC member experiences, national local conference, team leader roles. How do you showcase that in ISEC 2030 as well? Growth in exchange, GE, GTE, GTA, EWA initiative, youth engagement. And then relevance in exchange, GTA, business forums, SDG alignment projects. So everything ISEC 2030 is connected with something that you already do. And this is a message that JP and me wanted to send to you always. You already do ISEC 2030. All that you do is ISEC 2030 already. We're just doing one alignment for all of us to go in the same direction. Same thing with the campaign. You're already doing it, you just have to communicate it. There are some content guide or some content examples that you can see, but this is just the beginning of what is going to happen. Why? Because, no, thank you. So this is how a post of ISEC 2030 could look like, but I don't want you to stop and think only about like an inspirational quote. Because for example, we're launching a global goal, right? What if we put that everywhere? What if all our partners knew that we're going to have, I don't know, 1 million exchanges or whatever it's going to be? What if all of our partners know that we are actually real change makers? That's kind of the point of this. And at the end, again, our tagline, real change maker with whatever communication you make. And then I just wanted to thank first, Nati's not here, but it's our graphic designer, which I love her, from ISEC in Panama. Then we have JP, me, and of course, and I want to thank so Annie, can you please come here? I want to thank this lovely, lovely girl, which is MCVP Marketing for ISEC in the UK. She, with us, is the head behind ISEC 2030 campaign, so please give it up for her. So yeah, if you have any question, you can ask JP, you can ask Annie, or you can ask me, and we will give it to you. This will be available for you in the ISEC Just Real sub-campaign already, so it's already live, you can use it, you can read it, and that's it from my side.
Thank you, Gabi. Why we created this, because we were talking about ISEC 2030, we realized, thank you, that is something that we have to communicate and be able to do it in a simple way. You'll receive, after the conference, a full content guideline so you can adapt for your strategies, okay? How are you gonna use it? That is the main call to action after this session. Like how actually is something that I can take for my entity back home. First, let's say yesterday what you did this dreaming, right? You have some ambitions, in 2030 how your entity, your country, you want ISEC to look like, okay? Let's say I will make one example. And I will make it with my home entity that is ISEC in Colombia. So let's say ISEC in Colombia will have a PR strategy that is called, it's an example, okay? Is 5K Colombianísimos to mobilize 5,000 young people so they can see the answer is Colombia. That could be something that they can use ISEC 2034. If they create a PR campaign in 2026 because they want to be the biggest organization in Colombia, this is how they can do it, and this is how they can use the content guide, okay? So if that is the goal that ISEC in Colombia will have, that is no pressure, by the way, it's a really good number, but if that is the goal to have in 5 years, 5K Colombianísimos, then already you have the material so you can translate it into external context, okay? So, next steps for your entities, if you check already your projects, check which ones of them needs external partners to be involved. If you want to be the top option in your country, how can you talk with universities about this ambition in 5 years? How can you talk with mortgage stakeholders, GT partners, BD partners? So you can translate all of this in a communication that they can understand. Clear? And most importantly, use the campaign so you can adapt it, but also your LC so they can talk about it. So no more complexity talking about ISEC 2030. It's simple, it's 5 years goal, and this is how you make it happen. Cool? So I have a dream. If this is our ambition, I hope it's so clear when somebody looks at ISEC 2030, it can look like this. This is just an example, but I want you just to imagine. Imagine we will go to talk to a partner, to talking to the world, saying what ISEC will do in 5 years. Imagine it's something like this. Engaging 1% of young population. That is an ambition that is clear. That's what we're trying to aim. And this is just an example, but after this conference, we will know what is our ambition, not goal, ambition in 5 years. So we can work for that every day. Good? Thank you so much. This was the launch of ISEC 2030 external campaign. Now go out there and talk about ISEC 2030. You have the materials and you have the way to do it in much simpler way, okay? Cool? We're gonna go to lunch, but first I wanna invite Isra, are you here? Isra from Cedar team, so he can talk about this.
Thank you. Amazing. So, people, nice to meet you. Wait, calm down. Don't need to take your phones now. So, today is Friday, so tomorrow is? I don't hear you. Louder. All right, yes, Saturday You Speak Forum. And, yes, it's coming. And there is a specific track that we want your opinion, okay? We don't want to just, okay, you go to that space or MCVPs. We want to understand your vibe, okay? So for that, we have this 1 minute, actually 35 seconds form for you to fill out right now so that we can allocate you, all right? Based on how you're feeling. So yes, 35 seconds. Oh, step aside. Justin. Oh, Mamma Mia, here we go again. Let me see who has answered. All good with the form? Yes. Yep.